I'm John Polgar. I'm 94 years old as of March the 12th, 1925.
Wow.
And I've had a good life. I was raised in a Hungarian neighborhood down in Western Heights, Elyria, Ohio. 337 West River. Still remember that house number. Always had another. Now I got 257 at this address, but 7 ain't my lucky number. I haven't won anything.
So my understanding is that you were in the Navy during World War II.
Right.
How old were you when you entered the Navy?
Well, I was going to high school and I quit the last semester of my senior year. I quit and I had already applied to join the Navy, and they called me. So I left high school and joined the Navy.
And how old were you?
18 years old.
So you did not need your parents' signature for you to join.
No, my mother didn't want me to go, but I told her, I says, I either go where I want to go, or they'll draft me and put me in the Army, and I might go somewhere I don't want to go. So she says, well, so she signed. She didn't want to sign, but my brother had already left. He joined the United States Navy Air Corps. He was down in Columbus doing pre-flight and stuff. So I was the only. There was only two of us in the house, my brother and I. And when he left, well, then I left, and my mother and dad were by themselves. So I joined the Navy.
And where'd you go for training?
Pardon?
Where did you go for training?
Oh, a Great Lakes Naval Training Station, Company 314. Still remember that. Right across from the railroad station where you come from Chicago, and our barracks is right across the railroad tracks from the railroad station there. And I spent, let's see, well, it was about 8 weeks training. That's all they gave you at that time. They were hot for people to be in the Navy. So 8 weeks of training, and then they took us aptitude tests, and for some reason, I scored second highest in about 1,400 guys. So I had to go to school. I wanted to go out armed guard, but the officer says, that's for guys that aren't too smart. He says they don't live long on them ships going across the ocean. So I went to diesel training at the University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana, Illinois. I was there for, oh God, I don't know how long it was. That was good duty up there. It was nice. It was nice. You know, lived like college boys. You know, went to class in the morning and studied in the afternoon. And when you went to eat, why the college girls would wait. You went and sat down, and the table was set, and the girls would wait on you and ask what you wanted. And a lot of the food was raised on the farm at their University of Illinois. So we had good food. A lot of nice looking girls too, waiting on you. And you got done eating, you just left. You didn't have to do dishes or anything. You just took off and went back to your classroom wherever you were going to go. Yeah, that was Champaign-Urbana was a nice town.
And after that training was through, where did you go?
Well, from there, they gave me a choice. I could have direct orders to go to California, to the Navy out there, or get 10-day delayed orders, which meant I could go home for 10 days, and that was join the amphibious force at Little Creek, Virginia. So I said, well, I just want to go home, so I took that. I took the diesel training and small boat training at Little Creek, Virginia, outside of Norfolk. And I was there for quite a while. And the weather started to get bad, so they sent us down to Fort Pierce, Florida for advanced training in the amphibious force. That's my little pup.
Okay. Yeah,
Watching her shoot through the wire.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I was down in Fort Pierce, Florida for quite a while. Advanced training. That was with the undersea, the guys that was for the Navy underwater training. And the Rangers, the U.S. Army Rangers were there. There was all kinds of people down there. And we trained, taking them out landing barges, and bring them back to shore, practice landings, and then from there it was they set it up to Long Island, New York, and we waited for a ship, and then we crossed the ocean. We went.
Was that the first time you had been on a big ship?
Yeah, come think about it, and it was. I'll tell you what that was, and that boat was awful. It was. You used to haul bananas and stuff from South America to England. That's all it did, and they made a troop carrier out of it, and it was terrible. I was about 9 bunks high, I think, for my bunk, and first night I was laying there, and I said, "God darn, it's cold in here," and here is the ventilator was right up. This thing was on the deck, and it sucks the air in and blew, and I was right underneath that opening, and I like to froze to death. I was glad to get off that thing.
How long was that trip?
It took us about 5 days to get across. The first day believe it or not, the first day out of New York, the darn thing broke down. The engine broke down, and we was there the convoy went on ahead. We was in a big convoy. They went ahead. They didn't wait for us, and we're out there floating around by ourselves for the best part of a day. And finally, a destroyer escort came back and patrolled around us. And here everybody's waiting for a torpedo to come, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I would think there would have been German submarines there, right?
Well, the submarines, German submarines are around. We didn't know, they hadn't come to the coast yet, but we were out there about halfway across, I guess. And then we figured the Germans would get us, but we lucked out. Next morning we woke up, we were back at the head of the convoy again. Because we were so slow, the convoy would zigzag, you know how they go. But this one went straight ahead because they knew where the convoy would be when we'd catch up with them. And we were up at the head of the convoy again. And we got into Glasgow, Scotland. And, well, I won't tell you what kind of signals of townspeople were giving us on the pier, but it wasn't nice. I guess they were tired of us Yanks being over there already. And we got there to Glasgow. We got off the ship. We did a little marching down the pier, and we got on a train. And on the train, they took us down to this camp, which was just south of Plymouth, England. You know, where the pilgrims are supposed to live, Plymouth Rock and all that. But that was the camp they had. And we stayed there till practicing until it was time for the invasion. And then they moved us up to Portland, Weymouth, which Portland was on side of a bay. Weymouth was on the other. We was in Weymouth, and it was what I say, English people went there for vacations and stuff until the Navy took it over, and we were there, Weymouth, until the invasion. That morning we got our landing craft medium. We used to practice with them all the time in Weymouth. We went over to Portland, and we picked up at the dock. They loaded us a tank, this Sherman tank. We put up on this concrete ramp, and they backed this Sherman tank into our craft, and that's what we were going to carry across the channel. We knew it was getting serious, but we had no idea what it was going to be, but we knew there was something going on.
So you didn't know the day you were going to be going over to Normandy?
We didn't know what day we was going or nothing. But you know, we should have figured out something, because every port in England was, all these army trucks were loading into all these ships, and these guys, all these soldiers are marching, going aboard LCA, landing craft infantry, and we had to figure out something was going on, but we didn't know where or why. It was pretty good.
What kind of thoughts went through your mind when you saw all of this activity, loading the tanks and all the other
well, we figured, my God, you know, we used to go around in England riding bicycles, and every field whatever the field, open field is, it's full of army stuff, you know, ready for the war. Trucks, artillery, all that kind of stuff was around. And when they started loading all that, we said, something's coming up, and it's not going to be too long from now. So what the hell, we was only 19 years old. What did we know? We weren't scared to go. We never thought about getting killed or anything. We just figured, well, we're going to do something. So when that convoy took off, we took off across the channel that morning, and we had to turn back because it was too rough. You know, we were going to be on the 5th, and the channel was really, really bad. Mm-hmm. So we had to go back to Weymouth and wait a little bit, and until the weather calmed, until they figured out the weather was going to calm down a little bit, and then we took off.
So you weren't particularly afraid. Was that because you really didn't know what you're going to be getting into?
No, we didn't know what we were going to get into. We had no idea. We never figured anybody was going to shoot at us, you know. I don't know why, but we were in the Navy, you know. We were going to go across the channel somewhere, and well, that was something else.
So on the morning of D-Day, June 6, 1944, what were you doing on that day, that morning?
Well, that morning we were when we took off from Weymouth to go across the channel. He had to stay below deck. He wasn't allowed up on deck for some reason. I don't know why. But we took off, and after a while we could hear the guns, the battle wagons, the cruisers firing at the Germans over there. We knew it was getting bad. And on the ship I was on was what they call a landing ship dock. We drove to LCM right inside. They loaded tailgate, and it flooded, and we drove in, and there was 12 of us, and they had rats underneath the water. We didn't know, but once we stayed in position, they shut the gate in the back, and they pumped all the water out. So we were actually on a cradle inside this ship. So we got over near France, and then they opened the thing, flooded it again, and then we backed out. And
so what was it like? You get in this landing, LCM I think you called it, and you have a tank in it. Were there any soldiers in there that you were ferrying?
Yeah, there was 5. The tank crew was in a tank, actually there, and the sergeant was up on the top of the tank, you know, and we told him, "You have any idea where we're going?" He says, "No." He said, "But you'll find out pretty damn quick." So we went across, and we landed about in France. I would say it was mid-morning. Nobody had a wash. We didn't know what time it was, and it was still kind of dark. And we went across, and when we left that LSD, we were 10 miles off the coast. I don't know why. They figured that the Germans would be able to shell a ship if it was too close. So we parked about 10, 12 miles out in the channel, and that's where we took off. And we were out there and circled round and around for a while.
And what beach were you landing at?
Well, we found out we landed on Omaha Beach. And the worst one, figured, what the hell, if my luck would be bad, but we didn't worry about it. We didn't know what was up there.
So was it your job to take that LCM and drive it all the way to the beach so the tank could then get out on land?
Well, yeah, we took off. There's all kinds of landing craft going in at the time. We were surrounded by all these landing craft. They were all was just with soldiers in. There were some of us carrying tanks like we were, and then the big LSDs were coming in right behind us. You know, the great big ship with that open the bow doors, and they were coming along right behind us. And we found out that how bad it was, because once we hit that beach, see all these deceased soldiers laying there, floating in the water, up on the beach. Body parts flying all over the place. The water was full of everything. you didn't want to look down because you could see all these poor dead guys up there.
What went through your mind as this was going on?
Well, God, I hope we make it, because it was you could hear the German machine gun bullets going by when you got close to the beach, and artillery shells were landing on the beach. You were scared, You say, God Almighty, somebody got killed over there. It's kind of funny that they said somebody could get killed, but we didn't worry about us getting killed. We figured these poor guys that are up there ahead of us, they're getting it. And when we dropped the ramp and the tank took off and went for the beach, and we told the guy, good luck, and the sergeant up there, he waved at us, and that was the end of that. I don't know if them guys made it or not, because a lot of tanks were shot up right there on the beach. They never made it very far. And a lot of soldiers. I never seen so many dead people in my life as what was on that beach that day.
How many trips did you make back and forth from the ships?
Well, I never really counted them, but we must have been in and out about 9 or 10 times. Yeah, we'd go out, and the transports were out there about 10 miles out. We'd go out, and we were told to go to a certain transport, and these guys would climb down the net and get in our landing barge, and we take them. When they had them all loaded, all 12 of us, then they'd tell us, go for shore. They had a boat to tell us which way to go.
Were your thoughts or feelings any different after the third or fourth or fifth trip as they were?
You have to talk a little bit louder.
Sure. Were your thoughts any different after making multiple trips?
Yeah, we were starting to get worried because there were so many dead people lined up, and the fight was really, really bad, and we figured we're going to get it one of these days. But thank God we got ashore back 9 or 10 times without nothing. We had some holes in the ramp up front where the German machine gun bullets went through. It had a steel ramp, but they fired out machine gun bullets that go right through it.
Oh.
And heard them go by. I was man back with a cockpit. My job was to watch the engine, the control, how it was running, how the engine was going. That was my job to watch that. And I was right up back there in the back with the coxswain, the guy that just steered the ship. And the other 2 guys were up in the willow, and their job was, when we load soldiers, they would hold a net so it wouldn't get caught between our ship and the LCM while these guys climbed down. And there was quite a few of them dropped and got hurt climbing down this net right in the, and we had to take them back out to where we loaded them, and they had loaded them back at that LSD. They weren't any good. They were shot or broken leg or something. So we took them back to LSD, and they took them back to England, I guess, because
when you're making these trips back and forth from the boat to the shore and then back again, were you allowed to stop and pick up wounded soldiers that you saw in the water?
No. We had orders not to stop for anybody in the water. That was a Coast Guard job. They were picking them up later on, but they told us don't stop whatever you do to pick up anybody because it would jam everything up. There's boats coming in behind us, and if you sat there picking up bodies or something, that would screw everything up behind you. So they says, go in, drop them off, come back out and go get another load.
Was that hard to do, to go past soldiers who were screaming for help?
Pardon?
Was that hard to do, to go past soldiers who were screaming for help?
Yes, it was. We didn't pay much. With all the noise, all this bell wagons firing and all that, you couldn't really hear it. It was just a lot of noise. The machine gun bullets, Germans firing. It was really bad noise. You didn't stop to think about anything. That's one thing the Navy taught you something over and over again. You sort of, why do they make us learn this day after day, the same old thing? And they got you trained to go in, do your job, go back out without bunking around. So we went in, loaded up. We went out, loaded up, took them ashore, dropped them off, went back out, got some more.
Okay.
And it went on and on and on. Yeah. It was,
How far into June 6th did you stay around Omaha Beach?
well, that night we were going to go bunk out. They had what they call, they sunk some ships out there for breakwall like. And they told us to go out and tie up to one of them and get your sleep in. So we went out there and we were doing that and looked out the engine room. There was water in there about that deep already. I said, uh-oh, we're going to sink. I don't know where the hell the leak is. So two of the guys got off. The coxswain and I decided to take it ashore. It was dark. It was getting dark then, to go ashore and put it on the beach so it wouldn't sink. So we found out where it was leaking. And when we got here to the beach, it was riding so low, we found a mine and blowed that thing up. Our LCM blowed up. It just blew the back end right off. And Cox and I had to swim ashore. About, 500 or 600 feet, I guess it was. We had to swim ashore. Push these bodies out of the way while you're swimming. That was the worst part.
Oh, God.
Because the Coast Guard hadn't picked up all the dead bodies yet. So we're swimming ashore, pushing them out of the way, going ashore.
So you spent the night of June 6th on Omaha Beach itself?
Well, we were on another beach. I don't think it was Omaha. I think it was another beach where we. It wasn't as bad as Omaha. For some reason, they weren't firing that much. And when we landed, when we swam ashore, there was a trench up there full of soldiers, and they hollered. They says, "Come on, come on! They're still shelling this beach." So we ran like hell, got in the trench with them, and this one soldier says, "We were all wet because we swam ashore." He said, "There was an LCT was up on the beach there, and it had a hole blown in it, and it was on the beach. It was sunk there." And he says, "Why don't you go over there and get some dry clothes?" And Cox and I says, "Well, it's because it was cold. It was wet." So we ran like hell, got in there, got some clean clothes, and ran back, got in the trench. And pretty soon this LCVP was a vehicle carrier came ashore, and everybody ran, got in it, and we went out to an LST, and they took us back to England.
Okay.
Because everybody was wounded, so they took us back to England.
Now, my understanding is that you received a Purple Heart for some of your duties there in Europe. Can you describe that event? How that came
Well,
about?
I got shrapnel in the right leg, and it was bleeding, and there was no Carmen there with us on that beach when we went out there. Everybody just ran, got on this LCVP, took us out to the LCT, and we went aboard that. And the last I remember was the guy gave me a shot, and he marked your head that you got a tetanus shot, I guess it was. And he marked your head so somebody else would know that you had one. And I went to sleep, and I woke up. I was in Wales, England. I was in the hospital in Wales, England. That's when I woke up. Because everybody was tired there.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't know what that was going on.
Well, after you went back to Wales, what did you do there? What were your duties?
I was in the hospital there, and the nurse made me wash the windows. Here I am with band around my leg. I had a crutch, and I'd walk around outside and wash the windows out this gun, which was kind of weird. But she was a lieutenant, and she did what she told you to, Well, I mean, the doctor trimmed my leg. I still remember. I don't know his name, but he did say, "Where are you from, sailor?" And I says, "From Elyria, Ohio." He says, He says, I know where that's at. He said, I'm from Cleveland. I said, you are? He said, yeah, you know. So we talked a while. And then he says, he didn't give me no Purple Heart, by the way. He just bandaged my leg, that was it. But my coxswain went to another barracks, and they came along, and they just threw everybody up that was wounded a Purple Heart. I waited 50 years to get mine.
Really?
Yeah. They had screwed up my records or something, or they didn't admit that I was wounded, but I didn't get it for 50 years.
And how did you go about getting it after 50 years?
Well, we were friends with Sherrod Brown. He was a senator, and we got buddy with him, one of his guys that worked in his office. And I told him, I said, I never got my Purple Heart. He says, we'll see about that. So pretty soon, they after 50 years, Sherrod Brown says, me in his office, it was over there on Abbey Road, and we went there, and he presented me with the Purple Heart. And all 3 radio, TV stations from Cleveland were there like this, taking pictures of me. You know, it was quite a deal.
Yeah.
The best part of the whole deal, I got it. Sherrod Brown pinned it on me.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. After you left Wales, did you go back to the States?
No, we went back to France for a little bit, but then a big storm came up, and all the boats, all the landing rods were sinking. I remember, if you remember that big storm they had in the channel, it ruined the mulberries and all that.
Right.
Well, we got the hell out of there. They took us back to England, back to Weymouth, and back to that base where we first went. When we first got to England, we got off the train at south of Plymouth. That's the base that they sent us to. And they were shipping everybody back. They asked you if you wanted to go back to the United States or if you wanted to rejoin your outfit. And I says, well, I don't know where my outfit's at, you know, because I went to Wales. They were still there in France. So I said, well, I might as well stay and rejoin my outfit. So I was there for a while, south of Plymouth in that base. I was a master of arms. I was in charge of the guys in the base. They gave me a gun, a .45 gun, and they gave me a badge, and I'd walk around looking for it. But that was then back to England. I mean, back to the United States.
Well, from there you ended up in Newfoundland, didn't you?
Pardon?
Didn't you end up in Newfoundland?
Yeah.
What did you do there?
When I went back to the States, we got a 30-day leave. And then from there, they sent me aboard a patrol craft in Key West, Florida. And when I got there, I looked at that, and it was tied up at a pier, and it was all rusty old ship. All the parts were rusty, laying around the pier, you know. And I looked at that, and I said, that's going to be my ship. And this old sailor was there, not a sergeant. He was I don't know what he was. But anyhow, he says, welcome aboard. And I says, to what, this bucket of boats? He says, yeah. He says, they'll put it back together pretty soon. And from there, we went to, when they got it all back together, painted up, looked like a brand new ship. And they sent us up to Miami. And we to a pier there in Miami. And we used to patrol, looking for German submarines out of Miami, up and down the beach. Never found any. From there, they sent us up to Boston, and we were there in Boston for about 2 weeks. And they said, well, you're going to Argentia, Newfoundland. I wrote to a girl at one time, and I was in Argentia, and she wrote back, she said, how is it in Argentia? She thought I was in South America. It's slightly different. And that was a miserable base. It was a Coast Guard base up in Argentia, Newfoundland. And they had a couple of big Coast Guard cutters there, and they had our patrol craft was the only patrol craft there. And That's when we got, so, you know, they were bringing all these service people back from France and that was wounded in that, and they had these ships stationed all the way across the Atlantic in case a plane went down or a ship started to sink. They would head for this like a stationary ship, and the Coast Guardman had died on this one ship off Iceland, and his family wanted him home. They didn't want his body buried deep six, so they sent us a patrol craft out to get his body up to near. I can't think of the word now. Can't think of it. Iceland, up there off. That was the ship was way out there, and we went out with this patrol craft to get him. And when we got there, we had a hell of a time getting his body, because the waves were so bad we couldn't really get up against that big ship. So they said, well, they were trying to fire a rope over. They did. They shot a rope over, and they hooked his body in a rubber bag. So he had the rope. We pulled him short through the water, put him down to the boat, and we turned around. We started coming back, and the waves were terrible. I was scared. I didn't think we were gonna make it. You ever see that movie, The Perfect Storm?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was like for us. And his patrol craft, you know, it was a small ship. I got pictures of it. And I thought we were going to, and the captain, I went up on the bridge for a little bit, and the captain was there, and he says, watch that pendulum. He says, if it hits the red, he says, we're going to turn upside down. I said, thanks so much for telling me that. You know, a nice guy, a young guy. But it was a bad story. It was so bad, it bent a keel on our patrol craft. Because when we go back to Argentina, and we went out for what they call a speed run to see how fast it could still go. And the helmsman told the captain, he says, there's something wrong with this ship. He says, it don't steer like it should. Something's wrong. So we went back to Argentina after we made it through that storm, and they put it in dry dock, and they surveyed the thing, and the keel was bent. So from there it was back to Boston, and then from Boston they sent us to New London, Connecticut, and we practiced with submarines. Them submarine crews are learning how to. They had a destroyer escort that was going around like a target ship, and these submarines were supposed to fire these dummy torpedoes at it, and we were patrol craft. We were supposed to intercept these these submarines. They were U.S. submarines. We were supposed to, get a hold. There's a guy in a fan tail. If we passed over one, he was supposed to, they'd tell him, drop the hand grenade, and he'd throw a hand grenade, and the German crew, the submarine crew would hear it, and they'd come up to the surface. But we never caught one. Never found one. We used to go round all day long. Finally come back in about 7, 8 o'clock at night. We come back to the pier. And that was it for the day. Next morning, same old thing, crap. I hated that. Oh, it was terrible. Just round and round.
Have you ever been back to Normandy?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. My daughter saw that in a magazine. What magazine was it? Well, it was one of the magazines, and she put my name in, and darn if they'd call me. You know, I looked out, they wasn't, and there was 28 of us had been picked all around the country to go back to Normandy, and we went.
When was this? When was this?
It was the 70th anniversary of D-Day. So then we went, and I had to pay my own way across on an airplane. We had to fly in, and some of these other guys, they smarted out. They went wherever they were at in the VFW in what town. They would ask for the VFW to give them some money so they could fly, And they got paid. I paid mine and my daughter's way across. It cost me, I forget how many $1,000 to fly across. Yeah.
During the D-Day invasion, the days before and the weeks after, what was your attitude towards the Germans and the German people?
Well, I never really thought about them at that time. So, later on I thought, them people are trying to kill me. So I thought, the hell with them. I says, oh, I hope they get rid of them off that beach. Well, before the day was over, when the firing had calmed down, the Germans started moving back off the beach, and it wasn't as bad. Later on, we didn't hear much machine gun business. We still had artillery shells coming in. The German artillery was back off the beach quite a ways, I guess. So they were still shelling the beach a little bit. But we lucked out. We never got near one of them when they went off. One thing I had against the Air Force is they were supposed to fly over the beach before the invasion started and drop bombs on the beach and make craters so that when these guys got off the landing parks, they'd be able to run up there and get in these craters, and be protected a little bit. The Air Force, they were afraid of bombing us on going on the beach, so they delayed their bombing for a little bit. And they were bombing 3 miles inland. That's where they dropped the bombs. Never saw a hole on the beach where the Air Force had made a hole.
Do you think that your experience in World War II had a significant impact on the rest of your life, how you led the rest of your life?
Well, not really. Well, when I got home finally on leave, it was one of my buddy was there too. He was in the Army. He got discharged about the same time I did. And he says, Joe, what are we going to do? He said, we're on what they call the 5220 Club. You ever hear of it?
No.
For 52 weeks, they give you $20 a week, because you're a serviceman at home. So we milked that for a while. Just every night we'd go uptown and spend the money they gave us. Do a little boozing, chase the women, whatever. And finally we says, oh, the hell with this, let's go get us a job. So I went down. I was just going to apply at this General Industries. Yeah, I was just going to go look at the job. They said, no, you volunteered to work here. And it was a hell of a job. I didn't want it, but I refused to work there. They said, well, you don't get no 5220 anymore. You're done. That's it. You refused your job. Well, with my diesel training, I asked them, well, where's the nearest place I can get a job with diesel? They said, well, it'd be in Painesville at the New York Central Roundhouse. That's where they, with the locomotives. And I said, well, I don't have to go way the hell over to Painesville. They said, well, you're not getting the 5220 Club. He said, you better find yourself a job. So I heard that Bendix Westinghouse was hiring. So I went out there and I got a job.
Cool.
I applied for the job in the morning. That night I was working for Bendix in the shipping department.
A lot of the people in the younger generations are not really familiar with World War II. I mean, if you ask them questions about them, a lot of them, they may know of World War II, but they don't know of the significance that it played in the future of democracy in our country and the rest of the world. Do you have any thoughts, any comments, messages you'd want to give to the younger people about World War II?
Well, what gets me is the kids go to school. They never read about World War II, do they? In the schools anymore. A lot of these kids now, you talk to them. Oh, so I don't know anything about World War II. So they don't teach them nothing. Well, I guess history classes wouldn't include that.
Well, if you could talk to these kids, what would you tell them?
Read up on that more and see how bad it was. See how bad it was. See how good you got it here in the United States without having to go to the Army and the Navy and get in one of these things. Of course, it wasn't long. Here comes Vietnam. Here comes Korea. You know, one after another. It seemed like we always had a war going somewhere. But I was lucky when I read about the Vietnam War. I'm glad I was in World War II because that was a piece of pie compared to what them poor guys are in Vietnam.
Yeah.
God Almighty.
Do you have any other comments or?
Well, thank God I'm alive, and thank God for the Navy. They're taking care of us now. You know, I'm still what they call a disabled veteran. See, I go to PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Once a month, I go out there on Abbey Road to the VA center, and for an hour we talk about. We don't talk about the war. We talk about how we're doing now and how we could get better. You know, get this out of my mind.
Well, let me, if you don't mind, I'd like to pursue that a little bit more.
Pardon?
I would like to pursue that a little bit more. How did the PTSD affect you after you got out of the service?
Well, I joined the VFW, and there was a fellow there. He'd been in a helicopter about 3 crashes, and he was in PTSD. And I said, "What is that?" He says, "It's post-traumatic stress disorder." He says, "Aren't you getting disabled because you were wounded?" I says, "No." He says, "We'll fix that." So he sent me down to cryo, down to VA. It was in cryo at that time. And they asked me what's going on. I told them, I said, "Well, I got wounded in the leg." They said, "You should get compensation for that." I said, "Okay, I'll take it," you know. So I joined Veterans of Disabled Veterans, VFW Disabled Veterans, and that's me. And I go to a class every month to crowd. And we never talked about the war though. That was kind of forbidden. It was. How do you feel now about being home? What do you think of this, that, the other thing? You know, you talk everything but war. We still do.
Well, after you got out of the service and you started working for Westinghouse Bendix, did you have any emotional issues that kind of carried forward from your experience in the war?
You know, there was 4 of us in second. Who was on second shift, by the way, in a shipping department. There's only 4 of us had been in the service. The other guys hadn't. So they could care less about this and that and the other thing. We didn't talk war to them. But that was, Bennett was still making stuff for the service, for the Army, I guess. But we'd ship it out. That was a good job, Bennett.
Okay.
Good job. I enjoyed working there. I spent 34 years in that place. different. I was in the shipping department all 34 years. Sometimes in a machine shop, sometimes in assembly, compressor assembly, and all. You know, I was all over that place.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you very much for your time, sir. I really appreciate this opportunity.
I hope we came across pretty good. I tried to talk the best I could.